Hey y'all, welcome back to the Keys to Healing. For the people who's new, I'm Kiki. Welcome. Now let's get into today's topic. What if I told you that the problem that's keeping you back is you? Now, before you get upset and start rolling your eyes and catching the attitude and scrolling, just hear me out. Take 2 seconds just to hear me out, okay? A lot of us don't know that our habits and mindsets have contributed to us being a part of our own problem. A lot of us don't see how our own actions and our own habits have caused certain situations to be escalated and how we've honestly been a part of our own trauma. And it can and will, if you don't recognize it, stop you from being a part of moving forward for yourself, right? You might want the life, you might want the things, you may have the desire to move forward and to be better and to heal, but there's something just in your way. The hardest part of growth and healing is acceptance. The second hardest part is realizing and accepting that you have been a part of the problem. So let's talk about it, right? So a big issue that a lot of us have when we are going through life is we like to blame others for our actions. We like to blame others for our problems, for our setbacks, for our issues. And let's be honest, it's easy for us to play the blame game. It's easy for you to point the fingers at somebody else and say, if you didn't do this, and if he didn't do this, and she didn't say that, and if I had this type of life, that things would be different. But the honest truth is, none of those things really matter. And you blaming everybody is keeping you from accepting your own accountability. You have to be able to look at yourself and be able to say, okay, I understand that this has happened to me. I have had this setback. This thing is going on, and it may not be nothing that you could do to personally control it or them, right? But it's always, what can you do to help the situation? You blaming everybody for the circumstances, the lack of care, the lack of love, the lack of whatever it is that you might not be getting, it's not going to help you in the long run. It's not going to help you solve the problem. It's not going to really help you feel better long term. It might make you feel better right now, but it's not going to help you feel better later. It's not going to move you in no way, shape, or fashion, because at the end of the day, you can blame them, but what are you going to do about it after it? Like, after you've blamed them, after you've called out the problems, after you've called out the environment, after you've called out all these things, what now? Because you're still left with the problem. You're still left with the broken pieces. So what now? Blaming other people may feel good in the moment, but deep down, we all kind of know, what are we going to do? The problem is still going to be there. The people are still going to be there. Now you hit that now what moment. Which takes me back to the second thing that we tend to do, and that's avoiding accountability. When you blame other people for your actions and for your life and for your shortcomings, you now take the accountability away from yourself, which ultimately what you are ended up doing is taking away your ability to be able to grow through it. I'm not saying that nothing nobody has done to you is not valid. I'm not saying that it's not okay to voice and tell people what they have done wrong to you and the things that have hurt you, and acknowledge the trauma that you have had to endure and experience in your life. That's not what I'm saying at all. Actually, you should do all of those things, right? But here's the thing with accountability. What can I do in spite of? Because it's nothing that you could do about the fact that your mama didn't love you. It's nothing that you could do about the fact that you picked the wrong man. It's nothing that you could do about the fact that you grew up in poverty. It's nothing that you could do about the fact that your dad was not there for you growing up. It's nothing that you could do about those things. But what you can do is grow out of it. You can grow through it. You can be who you want despite that. What lessons did your dad not being there teach you? What lessons did your mom not being able to love you properly or being in your life or being the mother that you needed her to be? What did that teach you? Because I'm pretty sure that shaped you into who you are, good or bad. Yes, it gave you negative traits, but it also gave you positive ones. What can you do in spite of? If you spend more time focusing on your problem, that's what you will always have, instead of spending time focusing more on your solution. It keeps you in a cycle when you refuse to accept accountability. And that just looks like, what could I do better? What could I have done better in that situation? You got into it with your best friend, stuff got escalated, and now it's gone to a point of no return. And yes, she might have been in the wrong, but you returning energy, you matching vibes, matching energy, it's not going to help the situation. It's not going to help you grow. It's not going to help you feel better. And it's not going to put no money in your pocket. It's not going to elevate you in any kind of way. So why are we doing that? Because she did. Yes, she did it. Now what can you do? You can be a better person and you can move different. You can now understand that maybe that person has outgrown you and this is a new season where they have to be left behind. Maybe you learned that you need to set better boundaries. Maybe you learn that you need to learn how to communicate better, communicate your needs better. Maybe that is something that you learned or you should be learning when you take accountability and ask yourself, what could I have done better in this situation? What could I do despite the fact that I didn't have the things that I needed as a child to be able to thrive as an adult, to be able to not live my life in survival mode? What can I do right now as the adult, as the woman or man, if you're watching, could do right now to change that to where it won't matter, to where I could be the mother that I want to be for my children. I could be the wife that I want to be for my husband, or I could be the husband that I need to be for my wife, or that I am deserving of love. I can find a man who's not going to leave me the way that my father did, because I know the signs of that, right? I know what it feels like when people are disloyal. So it makes me be loyal, but also know how to vet properly so that I'm loyal to the right people who's going to give me that loyalty back. What could you have done in the situation better? That's accountability. The fact that could be saying, I lost my cool. I flipped out. I crashed out. I shouldn't have crashed out. I did not have to go that far. Matter of fact, I knew a long time ago I should have left him alone, because a lot of women would get in relationships with men and be like, I ain't see the signs. He just switched up. He did not switch up. You ignore signs. That's what accountability looks like. Understanding that you ignored the signs. You knew that girl wasn't really your friend, but because y'all partied together and she had the benefits, and because y'all was cool, she was funny, she made you feel away, you ignored the signs that she showed you, that she really wasn't really solid beyond the surface things that y'all did together. Deep down, we really be knowing. That's what be a part of our problem, a part of why we blow up and crash out, because we low key always go back and be like, I knew it. You knew it, but you didn't do anything about it. You knew it and you failed to do anything about it. And now we're here at the problem that you knew was coming anyways. And now you crashing out because you didn't listen to your better judgment. You didn't listen to the little voice in the back of your head. You didn't listen to your gut feeling. That's accountability, saying, I didn't listen to myself. I knew I should have got out of this situation a long time ago. I knew I should have left this job a long time ago. I knew I should have got my schedule right. I knew I should have been there for my kids more. I knew I should have healed this trauma. I knew I should have went to therapy. I knew I should have. You're saying I should have done this So that way now you know what to do the next time this happens, will help you in a long run. Accountability is hard at first, but when you start to practice accepting where you went wrong in the issue, it gets easier for you to move through it and not keep making the same mistakes. Who wants to keep bumping their head over and over and over again? And then another thing that a lot of us end up doing is we don't know how to self-reflect. Because in order for you to have accountability, you have to also be able to self-reflect. That's being honest with yourself and who you are, how you feel. And a lot of us, it's hard for us to self-reflect because we don't know how to sit with ourselves. We busy. We busy working. We busy being a mom. We busy being a girlfriend. We busy being a worker. We busy going to school. We busy trying to be the friend. We keep ourselves so busy that we don't have time to really check in with ourselves. And when you do find that little bit of time to be silent and to be still, we find something else to do. You cut on the radio. You turn your phone on and you go to Spotify, you go to Tidal, and you listen to music. You get on Instagram and you get to scrolling. You get on TikTok and you get to scrolling. So that little bit of time that you did have to sit with yourself and be silent and to reflect on your day, how you handle the situation, your kids, how you're mothering, how you're showing up in your relationships, how you're showing up to work, what are your future things that you want to do. That little bit of time that you do have, we spend it and give it to other things and other people that don't even know we exist. Them people that you liking you're liking their videos, you commenting, you sharing, them people don't know you exist, and they're doing the job. They're doing what they're supposed to do, at least we hope. At least that's what it looks like. Meanwhile, you're giving more, you're constantly giving yourself. Everybody else you're giving yourself to instead of giving yourself, giving you to you by taking time and self-reflecting. Because a lot of us really don't like what that feels like. It gets uncomfortable. Sometimes self-reflection is uncomfortable because now you have to be accountable. You have to think about the things that you're doing wrong, but also think about the things that you do right. Some of us don't know how to, some of us are lacking emotional intelligence simply because we don't know how to sit with our emotions. And you can't grow through that. You can't grow past that. Some of the problems that you may be having in your relationships with your friend, your spouse, your parents, your children, probably it could be very much so a you problem. Why are they bothering you so much? Why that man playing his video game is bothering you so much? Is it because you don't have a hobby? Why is the thing that's irritating you so much about everybody else around you? Let's figure that out before you go blow it up, bite their head off about it, and really come back and it's a you issue. It's something deep rooted in you that you haven't dealt with, but you don't know you haven't dealt with it because you haven't taken time to self-reflect about why that thing is bothering you. Accountability, reflection, okay? It's hard at first, I promise, I know. Trust me, I had to look myself in the mirror a lot of times, and I'm the friend that'll tell you I said it, I did it, and I don't take it back, right? But behind the scenes, realistically, certain things you start to realize when you self-reflect and you do start taking accountability, you stop putting yourself in certain situations. Like, I know I'm a little, sometimes my rock are not always there, especially when it comes to certain things like my kids or my husband. I don't put myself in situations. Even when it comes to ending relationships, whether it's a friendship, like whatever relationship, I feel bad when I end relationships. So when I end them, I make sure they're justified. I've tried everything that I could try. I've tried to communicate. I've talked to the person. I make sure that I do all the things, because if it comes back and it could have been something that could have been saved had I said this, or had I done this, or had I communicated that, I'm gonna feel bad about it. I will feel horrible about it. I feel bad when I go off on people for doing things that irritate me without realizing the reason they irritate me is not because of what they're doing, it's about what it brings out in me. It's the feeling that it brings out in me. And that might not have nothing to do with the person. That might be a childhood thing. That might be somebody told you earlier on thing. That might be I never had that, so I'm kind of irritated with that. My kids is just so self-absorbed. My kids just they spoil you. That irritates me because they just too spoiled. When I was younger, I never had this. Well, that's not that problem that you never had the things that you're now able to give them. So now you need to figure out why their being spoiled irritates your soul that much because you're the one that did it. What in you is not healed, right? The fact that you're able to do this for your kids, but it still irritates you, right? So you got to be able to sit with yourself because sometimes we do things that end up being making ourselves a part of our trauma because it's things we have not dealt with, right? Another thing that we can do, I think this by keep up with me, y'all. I think this is my third, fourth one, right? It's the third one. Yes, we're going into the fourth one. So the another thing that I notice a lot of people do is we talk negative about ourselves. We to ourselves. We will shut some stuff down before we could even start it because we are fearful of the things that one we do not know. If we don't know what's on the other side, we not doing it. It's like, no, I don't know. I know what I'm gonna get if I argue with you and be talking back to you tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen if we fall out, have an argument today, and I really say this gonna be the day that it's done. This the day I'm done. I don't know what that's gonna look like, cause girl, who gonna replace you? Sir, who gonna replace you? Am I gonna find another boo? Well, who? What if I don't really like them? How long is it gonna take me to find somebody to replace you? Well, what if I go get a new job? Am I gonna really like the new job? We start to tell ourselves all the negative things before we even give ourselves a try. We start to tell ourselves all the bad things. I can't do it. Why should I do it? Well, maybe it'll get better. And because we tell ourselves the bad things, we end up tricking ourselves and staying into the toxic dysfunction. Another video for another day. All right. We end up tricking ourselves to thinking that this is as good as it's gonna get. And we stay longer than we should. We put up with more than what we should because we are fearing, we're telling ourselves that it's not going to get better, that you can't do this. You don't know what's on the other side. And what if it's something bad? What if you fail? What if you flunk out of school? What if the relationship don't work? If I could tell him, if I tell him how I feel and I tell him he making me feel this way, he can get irritated. He gonna think I'm nagging. So I'm just not gonna say nothing at all because I don't want him to think that I'm nagging. And then he get irritated and now it's a problem because I don't feel like having no argument. Who said it was gonna be an argument? If you express what you feel in a appropriate tone and actually say what's your problem and not all the extra, who said it's gonna be an argument? You made that up in your head, and now you didn't. If you do approach it, you didn't approach it with an attitude because you've already told yourself you got to get into fight mode, and you didn't. You made that up. You already start getting a text message prepared, ready to kick him out. You've already condemned the man in the man. He don't even know what's going on. You had a whole argument in your own mind about expressing something that is bothering you without anybody else input because you already told yourself how this finna to go. We sabotage so many relationships because we start to tell ourselves what we think is going to come from it if we say XYZ, if we do XYZ without even considering the other person, without even considering that that may not even be the outcome. and not considering that you telling yourself is going to put you in a fight mode. So your intention of how you might have intended to come with it is not what's going to be perceived by the time you actually get into the situation. Who said that you weren't going to make it to school and you don't have time for it? How you know? You haven't even tried to put it in your schedule. Who said that you couldn't own the business? You can't be an entrepreneur because, oh, I don't like people. Oh, I don't like dealing with financial issues. I don't know how to, I can't deal with that. Deal with what? Because if it's what God called you to do, then he's going to give you the plan. You just got to learn how to listen and be patient and stop being so hard-headed. He's going to show you the vision, and he's also going to give you the plan. You just got to walk in the footsteps, and that's the part that we struggle with because we're hard-headed. We start to tell ourselves all the wrong things. We down talk ourselves. I'm bad at taking compliments. People compliment me and I be like, ooh, thank you. And now I'm like, dang, did they mean it? Did they say it to be nice? I'm horrible at taking compliments. Something as simple as that. We'll get into it just be like, I don't think I'm able to fit that. I can't go vegan. Oh, I can't do no diet. I can't. Stop telling yourself I can't. I tell my kids that all the time. Do what you say is what it will be. If you tell yourself you can't, you can't. What you tell yourself is what will be. Stop telling yourself what you can't do. Stop telling yourself what it ain't gonna be. Stop making up situations in your mind that is not what that is. Stop doing that to yourself. Right? And a part of why we do that is because we don't like change. Fifth, number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. We do not like change. As much as we say, I don't mind change, we like good change. We don't like bad change, and we don't like change when we don't know or we wasn't ready or nobody told us that we had to change. We don't know what's on the other end of that change. We don't tend to like it because what is that? What you mean? But change is a part of life. You're changing from the time you go from being a toddler to being a kid to being a teenager to being an adult to being a mother to being a grandmother to being an auntie to being a wife. It's change. Life is full of change, and that is something we have to learn how to embrace. We have to learn how to embrace change and not fearing the unknown, but embracing it. Because just like you telling yourself all the negative things that could happen, but God, what would happen if all the good things happen? What would happen if you let your mind imagine all the good possibilities? What if you let God show up and show out for you? What if? Stop telling yourself bad things because you don't like change. Stop fearing change. Change is good. Change is not always bad. Some changes are good. Will change hurt? Yeah, some changes hurt. You are going to definitely miss some things as you're changing and growing and evolving. But you needed all of those things to become who you're going to be. Change is not always bad. Most change isn't bad. It's just how we look at it and how we think about it. When you change from being a person with no kids and now that you're a mother and you have this little human being, is that a change that you would now go back? Would you change that change of you becoming the mother? Would you change that when you look at your child and you hear them say, I love you for the first time, or you hear them say, mommy for the first time, or you see them growing into a person that you wish you could have been, or being having the things as a child that you wish you could have had, or just being happy? All change is not bad change. Most changes. So we got to start being mindful what we tell ourselves about change. So I'm going to help you. I'm gonna give y'all some tips to start with, because you know I'm not gonna take y'all through all this and just leave you. I'm not gonna do that. So to practice, one thing to do, I want y'all to start doing is practice self-awareness, right? I want you to practice self-awareness. Get a journal. Write down your day. You can start with the prompts. Today I feel. The problem I had today was, I think I stuttered a little bit through that. The problem I had today was, right? And just say that. Even if it's 2 lines. Today I felt sad. Today I felt stressed. Today I felt overwhelmed. Today I was so happy. That one sentence, you could, if you're not a person who writes down or journal, you're like, I don't really journal, Key, fine. But write that one thing down. You can write it on a sticky note. Baby, I love sticky notes. I got one right here. I love me a good sticky note. Write it down on a sticky note. Because you, even if you don't want to write anymore after that, don't. But get that thought going in your mind, because now what made you happy? What made you overwhelmed? What about your day was stressful? What about your day made you sad? What about your day made you happy? What about it? And now you're down a rabbit hole of your own feelings, thoughts, and emotions. So now you can really tap into that. So if you're stressed, what was the thing stressing you? Do you need a new job? Do you need a better schedule? Do you need to learn how to prioritize? Do you need to watch who you're talking to, because you keep picking up the phone for people who are draining your energy? Do you need to learn how to ask for more help? Now we get to the why. We get to what, and now we're going to get to the why. And then we get to the what? Accountability. What can we do better? Maybe I need to ask for help. Maybe I need to stop being so available to everybody and picking up my phone every time somebody calls because they call. We get to the self-accountability. What could I do better? How could I show up better? Right? Practice self-awareness. Take responsibility. Again, that goes back. Self-awareness, self-accountability, all of that are friends, baby. They go together. All right. When you become self-aware, once you told yourself, what's the problem and what can I do better? How can you serve you better? We got to stop looking at it as, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I always, well, it can't just be them. Start looking from a serving point of view. How can I serve me better? Stop making it a bad thing that you have to take accountability for your actions or the way your life is going or your shortcomings. And start looking at it as you serving you. Self-care. How can I serve me better so that my life is not stressful, so that I'm not feeling overwhelmed, so I can have the relationship that I desire? Right? How can I serve me better to show up better so I can have the things that I want? Look at it from that point of view. Okay. Hey guys, sorry we had some technical difficulties. But I did not want to leave without giving you the last 3 tips that I had to help you get through and build self-awareness, so you can stop being part of your problem, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jump into the third tip that you could do, and that is making achievable goals. When you are trying to become self-aware and you are trying to really get to know yourself, you want to be able to set goals, because your goals pinpoint how much progress that you've made. You don't have to guess. You set a goal, you hit it. If you don't hit it, why? But sometimes we set goals that are a little bit too big for where we're starting out from. Example, if you were trying to lose weight and go to the gym and work out, you don't want to just jump from 0 days to 5 days. You want to start at least one day going to the gym every week to build the habit. If you know that you are always stressed out, overwhelmed, and tired, and you're always running behind schedule, maybe your thing needs to be, you need to set time blocks, organize your life, and that could be the one goal that you do. You organize your week. right? If you want to stop eating out so much, maybe one thing that you need to do is just stop. Pick one day, one extra day out the week that you cook an actual meal, right? So if you eat out 5 times a week, you might want to just start eating out 4 times a week and be able to cook that one extra day. Goals are to help us build healthy habits, right? But it doesn't work, or it works against us if we set goals that are too big for us where we are at the moment, right? So you want to set achievable goals. Don't set goals too big for yourself. It's okay to be an overachiever, but take that. If you oversee the goal, take that progress, because it's also to help build yourself and your confidence. So set a goal for yourself, achievable one. And like I said, a lot of our problems is scheduling. Get organized. That's coming on the next video, but let's stay into this one. Embrace your growth, right? So sometimes when we are growing and we are healing and we're improving, it is easy to go back to old habits. What they used to say back in the days, old habits is hard to break. New habits are hard to create. So you want to embrace every moment. Will it be hard? No. Allow yourself that grace. Allow yourself to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because growth is uncomfortable. You might find yourself missing the old version of you because maybe they were a little less caring. You might find yourself being a little bit more reserved and not going out so much because you were used to the party life, you were used to being on the scene, you was used to being that girl. But the girl that you're trying to grow into and the woman that you're trying to grow into, those things don't align with her. And it's okay to mourn your old self and accept where you are right now and strive to be your future self. It is okay to live in all of those moments. Your old self is why you at this point now. And where you are now is building for who you're going to be. Embrace them all. All right. I think with that, we have to realize that doing something different, we got to do something different in order to be different. Right. So the biggest part of that is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Embrace all parts of the journey, the good, the bad, the hard, the confused, the confident part. It's not always about the good parts. Most of the work is done in the parts that feel like we can't do another day. So embrace that. And the last tip is, if you are a person who is really, 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 really struggling and you just like, I really don't know the problem, because I believe we all kind of know, right? I believe it's a voice in the back of our head and we kind of know where we're going wrong. We kind of know what it is that we may be doing that is self-sabotaging ourselves. But if you're a person who's trying to build that muscle and you don't just know where to start, get 3 people, 3 to 5 people. If your circle is small, 3 people. If you have a bigger circle, 5, no more than 5, because you don't want a whole lot of opinions on this journey, right? And you need to set base goals to start off at. So you do not want to cloud your judgment and your thoughts with everybody else's. So get 3 to 5 people and ask them, hey, please create the atmosphere. If you know you pop off and you get an attitude when people tell you something, it can make them fearful to really tell you the truth, right? Get maybe over a little wine, chips and dip, create the mood, create the vibes to say, hey friend, I'm really trying to improve myself and I'm really trying to do something different. What are some areas do you think that I could work on, right? And open that up for a conversation so that you can get that feedback. Now, with some of us, the feedback can be a little hard to hear. Do not let that go in one ear and out the other. Write it down. Take a moment, reflect on it when you get along. The thing is with this, it's 2 things. Everything that somebody sees wrong with you may not be a problem for you. And here's the thing with that. We don't change things that we don't see a problem with. No matter how much we try. And we really don't see it as an issue, we're not going to change it. We're going to keep going back. right? We're going to keep going back to the same habits, the same thoughts, the same mentality, same mindset. You do not want to do that. So take the constructive criticism that you're getting from the friends and the people that know you best. Don't be asking somebody you just met a couple months. Ask the people who know you best, who's been rocking with you, your day ones. Go get them, pull them together and say, I need feedback. I need y'all to help me be better, right? And take what they're saying to you, because these are people, remember, that's going to know you best. They know your habits, the good, bad, happy, sad. They know your moods. They know your tics, your toxic traits. They know them, and they can see it from an outside looking in to maybe because sometimes what happens is it's not what we intend, our actions, and sometimes the way we react or the way we say things isn't our intention, but it's how it comes across to the world. So it also helps you be self-aware in that place. Is what you're putting out intentional? Is that what you want to give people, right? So that feedback helps you. Take it, look over it, reflect on it, really allow yourself to feel it, and look at it and see the things that you actually want to change in it. Look at it and say, okay, they told me this. I do kind of see how that's a problem in my life. I think I'm going to start with this one, right? Because everything that you see might not be a problem for you. And that is okay, because you might not see it now. But as you start to grow, you might start to go back and say, oh, that's okay. So now let me fix that. So if you don't see a problem with something that they said right now, that's okay too. Give it grace. Embrace where you are right now. If you don't see a problem with it, that is totally fine. But if you hear, let's say 3 people, if they all say something of similarity and all of those things are kind of the same, that's something that you probably want to look into. If they're all saying like you're a stubborn, you're a hot-headed, you kind of make situations more than what they got to be sometimes. Like if you hear them say that, like you hard-headed, you don't listen, you're being stubborn, then you want to be able to kind of look at that, receive that, and say, okay, maybe that is something you need to look at. Maybe it's time for you to look in the mirror and take the mask off and say, am I really like this? Right? Pay attention, because if you're hearing it multiple times, it's something there. Right? So I will say that. So I just wanted to leave y'all with those other 3 goals. And just the fact that here's the thing. We cannot always control what happens to us, what people do to us, because life is on life regardless. We all are just players in the game. But what you can control is the way that you respond. You can control to what gets your attention. You can control your environment. And that's what I want us to realize. Like the moment that you stop being a part of the problem, you start finding more solutions. You start finding more of what puts you at peace. But you have to stop matching energy. You have to stop living in what the only thing that you know, if you're wanting something different. Okay? So with that, y'all, I hope this was able to help y'all. I hope this gave y'all value. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments if it's something that I might have forgot or you have more questions about. And tell me if any of these are you. Do you struggle with any of these? Let me know down in the comments what are some goals that you're going to set for yourself, or if any of these things spoke to you. Like, are you guilty of any of these things, right? Let me know. In the meantime and in between time, I'm Kiki. Hunt life, live dreams. See y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.